No one expected her to stop a coup, not even Ibrahim Traoré. Get ready, something big is about to happen. Not just in the palace, not just in Burkina Faso, but in the heart of Africa. This is not a story about soldiers with guns or powerful men in suits. This is a story about a woman. A pregnant woman. A cleaner. Her name was Coup. She mopped the floors inside the presidential palace in Ouagadougou. People passed her every day, not knowing her name. She moved silently like the wind, her belly growing each week, but she never complained. She came early. She left late. She was always watching, always listening. President Ibrahim Traoré was loved by many, but he also had enemies. The French were angry. Since Traoré had chased them out of Burkina Faso, they had not stopped planning their revenge. But they were not alone. They had people helping them. People inside the palace. People close to the president. People who spoke in whispers and smiled in his face. They thought no one knew. But someone did. Coup had a secret. Though she was a Nigerian but married a year ago to a Burkinabe, she had grown up near the border, in a small village where a French doctor once lived. That was where she learned French. She never told anyone. Why would a palace cleaner need French? But that small secret, that tiny gift, was about to change everything. One day, Coup heard something. Something dangerous. Something big. She didn't plan to become a hero. But that day, her life changed. And so did the future of a whole nation. It was a hot afternoon. Coup had just finished wiping the floor near the security office when she heard voices. The men were laughing, talking fast in French. They didn't see her. They didn't know she understood. They thought she was just the pregnant cleaner. One man said, "He will be gone by Friday. The plan is perfect." Another said, "Traoré trusts everyone. He won't see it coming." Cou's heart skipped. Gone? Who would be gone? Her hands trembled, but she kept sweeping. She didn't look up. She didn't speak. She just listened. They mentioned a name. Captain M, a top officer in charge of presidential guards. He was working with outsiders. They planned to drug Traoré, make it look like a natural collapse. By the time the doctors arrived, it would be too late. Coup felt sweat run down her face. Her baby kicked. She looked down, whispering, "You must be strong, my child." She couldn't believe it. A man trusted with the president's life had become a snake. And he wasn't alone. The French had reached deep into the palace. Coup cleaned slowly, trying to remember every word. Her back ached, but she pushed through. She had to tell someone. But who could she trust? If she told the wrong person, she and her unborn baby would disappear before sunset. As she left that corner, she turned and looked back once. No one noticed her. No one ever did. That was their mistake. Cou's birth name is Joyce. She was born in Onatsi, a small village in the southern part of Nigeria. Her mother sold peanuts. Her father was a farmer. When she was 10, a French doctor opened a small clinic nearby. Coup helped carry water for the doctor's nurse, and slowly, she picked up French. At night, she would sit under the stars, repeating words in French, dreaming of becoming a nurse. But when her parents died several years after in a flood, those dreams washed away too. She moved to stay with a relative in Lagos. That was where she met her husband, who was in Nigeria for a business deal. They fell in love at first sight. 6 months after she moved to Ouagadougou to live with her husband after her dowry was paid, it was a little and quiet ceremony with few family members. She got a new name, Cou's, and tried to settle in her new environment. When she complained of boredom, her husband got her the palace cleaning job. No one knew she spoke French. It became her hidden power. Now that power was needed. She stayed up that night, writing everything she remembered. Names. Places. Times. But she didn't know what to do with the paper. If she gave it to the wrong hands, it could destroy her. That night, she prayed. God, I have no power. I am just a woman with a baby. But you gave me ears. You gave me a brain. Help me use them well. The next morning, she hid the paper under her dress. She walked to work like every other day, but inside, she was on fire. The palace walls looked the same, but now she knew danger was inside them. She had made her choice. She would not keep quiet. Cuddy needed help. But who could she trust? Most of the guards were loyal to Captain M. Even some of the cooks had been acting strange. Then she remembered someone. A quiet man named Adama, one of the young IT staff. He once helped her when she fainted near the canteen. He seemed kind. More importantly, he was new and not connected to the old networks. She waited until lunch break, then walked up to him. Her hands shook as she held out the folded paper. "What's this?" Adama asked, confused. "Please," Cuddy whispered. "Read it in private. And say nothing until you do." He took it. Later that evening, he called her to the garden behind the palace. His face was pale. "Cuddy, this is serious." "I know," she said. "But you work with systems. Maybe you can watch them, see who they call. I can keep listening." Adama nodded. From that day, the two of them worked together in secret. One watched with eyes. The other listened with ears. The plan to kill President Traoré was set for Friday. They had only 4 days. And no one knew the pregnant cleaner and the shy IT guy were building a plan of their own. The palace walls were old, but they heard many things. Cuddy moved silently. She cleaned near phones. She scrubbed near windows. She even cleaned Captain M's office when he was not around. One day, she found a small bottle under his desk. It had no label. She took a photo and sent it to Adama. He replied, "That's the drug. Very strong. Can stop the heart." Meanwhile, Adama set up a secret program to track phone calls. He saw numbers from abroad, French numbers, calling the same 3 palace workers over and over again. On Wednesday, Adama overheard a call. "Friday morning. His tea will be ready. We switched the guards by 8 a.m. They were running out of time." Cuddy's back hurt. Her belly was heavy. But she kept going. At night, her baby kicked like a drum. She whispered, "Hold on, my child. Your country needs you." On Thursday night, she met Adama again. "I've saved the camera clips. I have proof. We can show the president. But will he believe us?" Cuddy asked. "We are nobody." Adama looked at her and smiled. Sometimes, nobody is who God uses. They had one last chance to stop the plan. Tomorrow was Friday. Friday came with silence. A heavy silence. The palace felt different. Too clean. Too quiet. Cuddy arrived early. She saw new guards she didn't know. They looked nervous. At 7:45 a.m., she saw a man carrying the tea tray. It was not the usual kitchen boy. It was one of the traitors. Cuddy ran. She didn't care anymore. She burst into Adama's office. "It's happening now." Adama had one hope left. A private emergency link to the president's chief of security. A good man, trained by Traore himself. He sent the files. The recordings. The camera clips. Everything. At 8:05 a.m., just as President Traore was about to take the cup of tea, the guards rushed in. "Mr. President, please wait," one of them shouted. Confused, the president stopped. The guard took the tea, sniffed it, and then tested it with a chemical kit. The result turned red. "Poison," the guard said. Traore looked around. Who did this? One of the traitors tried to run. He didn't get far. The plan had failed. Burkina Faso was safe, for now. The traitors were arrested. Captain M was caught that same night, trying to flee to the border. His phone had messages from a French contact, promising money and a safe house. When the president read Cuddy's name in the report, he asked, "Who is she?" "She's a cleaner, sir," the guard replied. "And pregnant." Traore stood up slowly. "Bring her to me." Cuddy walked into the great hall, her feet heavy, her heart racing. She bowed. "You saved my life," the president said. "How?" She told her story. From the first day she heard the whispers to the moment she ran to warn Adama. "And you speak French?" "Yes, sir. I never told anyone." The president smiled. Sometimes, silence is not weakness. It is strength waiting for the right moment. He stood up and said, "You are no longer just a cleaner." Cuddy's eyes filled with tears. Her baby kicked again. 2 weeks after the failed coup, Cuddy gave birth. It was a girl. She named her Salimata. The hospital was full of flowers. The president sent guards to protect her room. Journalists waited outside, but she didn't want cameras. She just wanted peace. When Traore came to visit, he carried a small toy for the baby. "She may be small now," he said, "but she already helped save a nation." The news spread fast. People in villages and towns called Cuddy the brave mother. Songs were sung about her. Children danced to her name. But Cuddy stayed humble. "I only did what my heart told me," she said. 1 week after the baby's birth, a small ceremony was held at the palace. Cuddy stood by her husband who was carrying their daughter. The president handed her a medal and a certificate. "This is for bravery. For loyalty. And for love of country." But there was more. "You will now lead the new palace integrity team. Your job will be to make sure no bad plan ever grows again inside these walls." Everyone clapped. Cuddy smiled. From cleaner to protector. From silence to power. From shadow to light. Though the coup failed, danger still hung in the air. The French government denied involvement, but secret documents told another story. More agents were watching. More traps were coming. But now, the palace had Cuddy. And Cuddy was watching too. With her baby on her back and a mind sharp like a sword, she became the quiet shield behind the president. People asked her, "How did you do it?" She always said, "You don't need a gun to protect your land. Just open your ears. Open your eyes. And don't be afraid to speak." Her story reached schools. Teachers used it to teach courage. Girls looked up to her. Boys respected her. Even soldiers listened when she spoke. The president once told her, "Your baby will grow up in a free country because of you." Cuddy smiled. And so the story of Cuddy, the pregnant cleaner, became the story of a nation. She had no army. She had no wealth. She had no title. But she had something more. She had courage. She had heart. She had love for her country. And from the floor of the palace, with a mop in one hand and a baby in her belly, she became the woman who saved Burkina Faso. Let this be a lesson to the world. Sometimes, heroes come from the most unexpected places. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and also drop a comment, we will really appreciate it. Follow for more stories like this.